Let the kitsune guide you!
Well, hello gamers. This is something new for me, but definitely something I wanted to touch base on. Honestly, we'll kind of stick to Overwatch here. I know this can be applied to so many different games and just life in general, but being toxic is easy. I mean, it is not hard to pointlessly fight with one another, no matter what it is. Whether, there's characters you just don't like, there's people feeding on the team, there's so many things that make it so easy to be just toxic, to just banter for no reason, especially when somebody starts it. When somebody starts it, it makes it so much easier, and that's my biggest problem personally, is getting pulled into that. Being pulled in by toxic energy is too easy. It's actually so difficult to, we'll go with be one with the iris. Sticking to that more positive side is difficult for most everyone. There are definitely the exceptional few that they're good with just going that route, and that's fantastic for them. But some of us don't find it, or most of us don't find it easy at all. And so we need to find a way to stop that. We need to find a way, because especially, like I said, we'll stick with Overwatch here, but there are thousands of players, or thousands of us, whether it's console or PC, that are playing, and we all want to work better as a team. We all want our team to work better with us so we can win. And when that doesn't happen, that's when a lot of the toxicity comes out. You get people that, they do the simple things. You have the one that, it's the teabagging, the massive crouching. They say easy at the end of the game. Tell you to go touch grass. They tell you, if this type of stuff, you're being soft. And it's like, it's not about being soft. It's that, we're all going through something or another. We all play games to get away from the real world. We all play games to find a more positive atmosphere. As first-person shooters, as in even Overwatch, we don't really get that. You start off playing and things like that, but most people don't do voice chat. A lot of people, turn off their chats, or they ignore their chats, whichever. But when they see someone type something, when someone just randomly starts, being toxic, just trying to get under someone's skin, then they start talking back. They start typing back, whichever it is. Even though they were going to ignore it in the first place and not say anything, someone said something that just triggered them and they get into it. And most of us want that to stop. Because if you want people to join voice chat more often, especially in comp, competitive mode, then we've got to have a more positive atmosphere. And I know the people that are on the higher end of the toxic problem have probably already turned this off or have just skipped it completely. Because most people don't want to blame themselves, they want to blame everybody else. And we're all part of the problem. I have my own issues, which is why I don't do voice chat, I don't do voice chat because I definitely don't want to hear other people. I don't want to hear their toxicity, you see them in chat and then they start complaining that you're not in voice. And it's like, why would I want to be in a voice chat with you when you're being this toxic in chat? I mean, if it's that much easier for you just to yell in my ear, I don't want that. Most other people don't want that. And so there are times, because, like I said, it's real easy to be pulled in. So when someone types something, it's too easy for me just to type back. So I generally have turned off chat completely. You do what? Control-Shift-C, and you can actually get chat to just disappear. Well, the problem with that is the moment you press enter, you can start typing right back again, even though you haven't seen anything. And so, if someone was just doing something stupid. So I actually learned that you can go into the options and turn, match chat off in there and team chat off. And the nice thing is, even if you hit enter and you start typing, even though it shows you're typing in team or match, they don't actually see that. I've tested this just to make sure that it works. And so if you go turn it back on and then type, they'll see it, but they won't see anything otherwise. So if you have a problem with being toxic, maybe that's one thing to do. Just go turn everything off until you learn how to control it yourself. And, some easier ways, and I know, like I said, being toxic is easy, but some things that maybe you want to do, instead of focusing on everything that's going wrong, you're going to lose. Overwatch has got that put in to where they want you to be losing 50% of your matches. They want to try to make it even and balanced like that. And if that's going to be the case, no matter what, you're going to lose. It's inevitable. That's the way the game is made. If you're making 100% wins, then Overwatch isn't doing their job, or the game's not working the way they want it to. So a better way to do it is look for the things that are positive. Look for things, even when you die. Like with Kiriko, getting her headshots off isn't easy. Some might find it easy. For most of us, we don't. So if an enemy gets a good snipe shot off on you, type them, good shot, nice shot. I see it very rarely, especially compared to the toxic parts. But look for something to compliment on. If you can't, if you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all. We're going to go back to Bambi on this one. And because, yes, it is hard to be positive when there's so much toxicity going around you, when you have a feeding teammate, when you have someone that's just jumping off ledges, when someone's just standing around doing nothing, when it seems they're just firing at the walls, when they quit the game. And so it is a lot harder, but it's growth to be able to get through that type of stuff. And I'm going to try to move this just a bit. So, when a Widow gets a good shot off, when Orion makes a good play, or good defense, your healers are doing good, or their healers are doing good. Now, don't do it sarcastically. It's too easy to, to make it look like you're saying something positive, but you're saying it in a sarcastic way, and you're just causing more problems. You're just being negative. You're being toxic, or you're being a bully. However you want to look at it, just don't do it in a negative way. If you're not really going to say something positive, then just don't say anything at all. Because in life, we all get that way. We get pushed to the edge, and we lose it. We start yelling, or we just start, pushing buttons on whoever we're talking to make them angry. The difference is to people around us, at work, at home, school, whatever it is, you can generally go back and apologize later. But on video games, you generally can't. Now, if you play with that person more often, you know them on social media, whichever, you might get the chance to be able to do that. But you can't do that with randoms in games. And you have no idea what they're going through. They have no idea what you're going through. We're all going through something different. And, you know, some have had just a massively bad day. Some it's drawn into a week or weeks. You know, some of where it's just been months and months of just terrible day after day. And unfortunately, a lot of us cause that for ourselves. We may have bad things that happen, but then most of us tend to focus on things that we can't change. 100% out of our control, we focus on things that there's nothing, period, that we could do. And that's where most of us have a problem with toxicity. And we create even more negative energy off of that. You know, when your rent is so high, your bills are so high, you lost your job, you know, whatever. There's so many different things. The best thing you could try to do is to not focus on things that you can't change at all. If they're 100% out of your control, focus on the things you can change. Because like even in Overwatch, that we all have characters we hate. Now, we can't really change that. We're all going to have characters that we find are cheap, that they're just easy, you know, that we die from a lot. And in that case, being toxic to the person playing them isn't really going to change anything. I guess they might change the character just because you don't like it, but for the most part, that's not really going to happen. So the only thing you really could do is maybe go write on the Overwatch forums, constructive criticisms. Don't just, you know, say, yeah, this is fucking stupid, this is blah, 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 whatever. Explain why you feel that character is cheap. Why that it's, you know, what you feel should be changed about it. Overwatch may not do anything. You know, there are many things that I've even gone through and complained about, and I try to be constructive about it, that I've never seen changes on. And I probably never will. Especially because, you know, with Overwatch, it's the only first-person shooter I play. I'm normally not a first-person shooter fan. And from what others tell me, other first-person shooter games are way more toxic. But that still doesn't make it okay. We don't want to be just a little less toxic than Call of Duty or Halo or whatever else. We want it to be a positive community. Like even in games such as, World of Warcraft. I can't even think of any others. I guess I haven't heard anything really about Elder Scrolls Online, if that's really got a toxic community. But like with Guild Wars 2, I've seen a little bit there, but its community is fantastic, and it is fun to actually play and immerse in. Even PvP, it's just, it doesn't get that way. It doesn't get how it does in any other game I've seen that has competitive parts. That's PvP. Everyone is more friendly. It's kind of like a mosh pit with Guild Wars. And that's the way we want it to be. We want, even if we're getting our butts whooped in Overwatch, we want to be able to grow and get better. Not just have your teammates, stop feeding, stop doing this, stop whatever, and you're trying your best, and they're just talking down to you. And that doesn't help anybody. Because all you're going to do is frustrate and piss off your teammates, and either they're just going to get discouraged from playing, or they're just going to ignore you. I mean, that's what I do. Anything toxic like that, someone starts being that way, they're not going to change, I go block them. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. If I see them, if they're not even being toxic to me, I see them being toxic to their teammates, the enemy team, whichever, I'll block them. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it anymore. which kind of sucks in a way, because if they could hit some revelation, something, and just grow the next day. Something just hits them hard, and that toxicity just disappears. Normally it doesn't happen. Normally it takes a while. Because I know even in my few years back, okay, over a decade back, I should say, at least. So I think I'm going on 12 years now. And I had my own toxic traits. I let shit get to me way too easy, and had to find ways to fix that. And because, I've gotten in arguments, like even with my kids, when they push those buttons. I've told even my youngest, I'm just sitting there spitting just random stupid shit. And now it's a running joke in our family because I said something about biting his teeth. And it was just so like, what the fuck did I just say? So now it's it gets brought up just all the time about saying stupid shit. And that's kind of what we bring up, is biting someone's teeth. And so, yeah, we need to find ways to fix that. And I'd love to see more comments in here. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, that's just the way the game is. That's just blah, blah, blah. It shouldn't be the way the game is. People should want to come here. You should want to have people feel comfortable about being there, because you want to have a better team. You want to be able to chat with your team, and you want your team to be able to trust you. You want to be able to trust your team. You don't, when you go into competitive, so many people whine that there aren't people in voice chat, and this is the whole reason. The whole reason people aren't in voice chat is because of the toxic community. Because it is far more common for people to be just dark and negative in your ear or in chat, to where you're just like, I don't want to do this. And when you're losing already, if you're on a losing streak, if you've lost 5 games, 10 games in a row, or, it could be 10 games, you win 1 and then you lose 5 more, and that already upsets someone. And then when you got teammates making it worse, why would anybody want to join the voice chat? Why would, they just want to play the game. They just want to do something their way. Why would they? And then so even things like when you ask someone to change to this and they tell you no, that may be frustrating to you, but accept it. Or if they don't change, just accept it. Don't sit there and call them out, call them this and that, or whatever it is you're going to do that's just being negative and toxic. Asking someone to change or do something different is one thing. If they comply, great. But if they don't, again, that's 100% out of your control. You've already voiced your opinion. You need to let it go and just move on. Work around it if you can. It's just... so many things to touch on this, and I'd love to hear about in your comments on what else, what do you think people could do to make it a more positive game for you? What is it about the game that you dislike, and not the characters in general? What could people do to make it a better experience? What could your enemies, your teammates, what could Blizzard do? Because I know that being able to endorse enemies, I like that. That was something when an enemy does good, and there's certain things that they do that I like, that will say, I find honorable in the game, or just skilled, or whichever, then being able to endorse them was fantastic. And I think even now, where we can only endorse 2 people, maybe give us the option to endorse our 2 people. We have our 2 teammates, that we can endorse, but maybe give us one extra endorsement that's just for the enemy team. So you can use it, not use it, just like now with the teammates, but where we can actually go endorse one of the enemy team if we're like, okay, they did really well, or they were really positive about it. Because doing the stupid little things, like I said, like calling out easy or for a game like that, like I've had people that do that when we win, when we win, and it's like, why are you cheapening the win that way? You kind of ruined it. We had a good game. Everyone, both sides are at 99%. We're into overtime. We're just back and forth. And yet someone still calls out easy, even though it was nowhere near that. They're just doing it just to trigger someone or try to set someone off, just to be toxic for no reason. They're just trying to be negative. And the problem is if they find that funny, then there's something wrong in their life and that none of us know about, but that they need to fix on their end. And some things they can't fix, and that's what they're frustrated about. And surrounding yourself with that type of negativity is just going to suck in more negativity. You're just going to build your negative bubble. It will just get bigger and bigger. You will not get rid of the negative energy by being negative. And no, you might see 0.5% of positivity throughout your entire day. And it could be that way all the time, but that's what you need to focus on. If there's negative things that are happening in your life or in game or whatever that you can change, then do what you can to change it. Sometimes that, no matter, even if you try to change it, it still might not work. And then again, it's out of your control. Or maybe there's something else you can try to change it. It's basically, you can hope for the best, but you need to prepare for the worst. You need to prepare that there's going to be toxicity in your life, but you don't have to be toxic yourself. And because we're ruining the games, not just for ourselves, by being toxic, we're ruining it for so many people. And the more toxic that you are, the more you're going to get that in return. Like I said, most people complain about people not wanting to do voice chat. Because being in voice chat, when you can make call outs to 4 other people, you're more likely to win. You're more likely to succeed against the enemy team. And you still might not. Again, you're still stuck in Overwatch, this 50-50 win-loss ratio. But at least you might have a good time. I mean, I've done losses where both sides are just actually positive, which is so rare that even when you lose, it's just fun. Like, people complained before that Odessa, Junker Queen, was overpowered. But like, even in beta, when I first got a player, I loved her, whether I was dying to her or killing with her. It was just fun either way. And especially in beta, it was so much more positive. Way less toxicity back then, and it made the game so much more fun. Whether you lost, whether you won, it didn't change anything. You were just having fun either way. I mean, obviously being able to win is fun in its own way, but it's not the same thing as having fun just playing the game. Because even though whether you win or lose, you move on to the next game, to where you're once again going to win or lose. So this is kind of the, enjoy the journey. Don't worry about the destination. Because no matter what, you're going to be stuck between closer to the 50% win to lose ratio all the time. That is where Overwatch is going to place you. They're going to make sure that happens. Now, if you're lucky, you might keep closer to 60%. But the algorithm will do its best to bring you down. And so we all need to focus on being more positive in the game. I don't care what it is, whether it's just you not doing anything and just playing the game. Don't rage quit. That doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help you get better as a player. No matter how bad your team is, just focus on playing the game. Focus on becoming better with your character, because you can't get better if you're just dominating the enemy. But you can get better if you're being challenged. And if your whole team it feels like they're throwing, and so you feel like you're taking on the enemy team all by yourself, you're going to get more skilled at being able to play your characters, your favorite heroes. You can't really get that if the enemy team is throwing, or it feels like they're throwing and you're just kind of running them over. You never really get better that way. I mean, you might be able to get a little bit better with your aims, but when it comes to, hiding, adapting, working with your teammates, stuff like that, that kind of becomes more of a challenge when you're being challenged. You can't get that just at random. You can't get that when something is just easy. And so I'm hoping we can find a way to make Overwatch 2, I guess, a better place for newer players and old, where we want people to be there, because the more people we have, the faster our queue times are. The shorter they are, the more people are playing. And we all want that, and we all want to enjoy every game. Most of us game to de-stress, not get stressed. And so when we can just have fun playing every match or talking to new people, and I mean, even if you are working with randoms and not in groups, you could make some lifelong friends that you'll move from Overwatch to other games with. It won't just stick to Overwatch. Most of us, especially that play Blizzard games, play other Blizzard games that Overwatch, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Diablo, and we move on to other games. Most gamers don't just play just one game. So you could have connections elsewhere, and we all kind of want that. So, like I said, there's a ton that we could probably get into, and probably so much that I'm forgetting that I wanted to go over, and maybe we'll make more videos like this. Maybe we'll see if in the comments or elsewhere, and maybe we'll come back and readdress this again. But yes, leave your comments. Even constructive criticism, I'm fine with that. It's the blatant toxicity when you're just being like, yep, this video's stupid, that's never gonna change, blah blah blah, whatever it is. That's not helpful. It's not helpful for anybody. So let's try to figure out what we all can do to be able to grow as a whole Overwatch community. I mean, this can be adapted to so many other games and just life in general, to work, to whatever. But what helps you? What do you think would help other people? What have you gone through that helped you realize this is the better way to go? And so, like with us, our pets help us. Our pets really help us when we're having a stressful day, things like that. Playing with your pet can help you out. Give me things and ideas that will help other people, even in game. What do you do in game? Do you take off after the game's over? Do you rage quit and then go do something else because you're just like, nope, I rage quit because if I didn't, I was going to become more toxic. I was going to have a worse day. So I had to leave the game completely. Maybe that's why you rage quit. But if you can avoid rage quitting, at least finish the match, and then you have to take a break from the game, that's great. But if it's too much for you and you're just like, nope, I'm done, then yes, do it for you. You definitely come first before a game. It's just you're also letting your teammates down a bit. So if you're just rage quitting to go jump into another game hoping you'll just get carried, don't do that. But if you gotta de-stress, you gotta go take a bath, you gotta, whatever it is that helps you get back into your being one with the iris type of stuff, then do it. Whether it's going to get something to eat because you're hangry, whatever it is, but let's try to find ways that we can work as a community to make Overwatch far less toxic. So let me know in the comments down below. Share this over with someone else if you think that they need to hear it, or that they have good ideas on it, that they've pointed this stuff out before, that they, you two have talked about, you three, your group, your community. I'd love to be able to see what we can get through, and we'll come back and address this again later and kind of see where we're at. I would love to see more positivity in Overwatch, because as much as I hate the game because there's so much cheap stuff I find about it, I love to play it. I don't know why. Like I said, I'm not a first-person shooter person, and I love this game. It is just so fun for me, and I would love to be able to be more connected with the community of Overwatch as well, because there are so many talented people out there that are just gaming to have fun. And there's so many kids out there that they're just gaming because that's what's fun for them. They're not looking to make this some type of career, or YouTube views or likes or whatever. They are just playing to play because it's what they like to do. And I think a lot of us have grown out of that, and we need to get back to there. So I could probably just keep babbling on forever. So I'm going to call this a night. Or morning. It's 3 o'clock right now for me, 3 a.m. So let me know what you think, and good night.